There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission.
Oh,
Hey.
it's spooktacular.
Yeah. We're really in the holiday season.
Yeah,
well,
we
first
are. Oh.
holiday, I guess.
Yeah, right? And
We
it's
haven't got
just
to the
like
others yet.
Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah, all in one time of the year.
Everybody get ready. All right, so we have episode 115.
115.
Ooh. And we're doing decorative wraps? Is that what we're doing?
Decorative dragon
Dragon scale wraps.
scale wraps. Yeah.
Sure, sure. What was the, you guys had a funny name for it. What was the? Dangerous dragon scale wraps.
scales.
Okay, cool. Well, we're not going to frighten you too much, but I'm going to show you an easy way to do the dragon scale with mesh tape method. And I just then might scare you with the thread method. Because for those out there that are like, oh, that's cheating. I mean, it is, but when you sit down to do both of them, you might be like, ooh, that mesh tape sounds pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
Can I buy it by the case? So in all seriousness, though, you can get great effects no matter if you use mesh tape or the thread. The thread is a little cooler. You can get it to be a little more pronounced. You can adjust it how you want it. And it's pretty cool, but it does take a minute, just like, with all rod building. We'll have a lot of fun with it. And then, of course, we're going to talk about colors and inspiration. Kind of what not to do and some ideas of what to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw you working a little bit earlier on the advanced version, one of the thread version. Which
Working and cussing and
a little bit of both.
I was having a ball in here, getting in the spirit. But yeah, so you've got some new products though.
Yeah,
right?
we got some housekeeping got to take care of. So new products, you guys have seen if you're signed up for the newsletter via Mudhole. If you're not, you should be.
Yeah.
But if you are, you've seen we released a couple new products recently. One of those being the Blue Wing Adjust-A-Butt bent rod butts. These are a dropship only item. We don't stock these necessarily, but really cool product, and we have these available in some unique colors, including a blue color that's really will catch your eye. So if you're do some offshore fishing, saltwater style fishing, check out those Blue Wing adjustable butts. Pretty cool product there. We've also released additions to the Fuji TCH series of reel seats. So we brought in a small selection a few months ago. We've added to that since Fuji has released more new products since iCast. So check out the additions to the TCH reel seat lineup. There's some really cool palming seats in there.
All of them are cool.
Vertical jigging and slow pitch jigging seats. So the guys at Fuji Anglers Resource have really added a lot of great products, and we will continue to add more. We still got some grips to add to match up to these seats, and a lot more cool stuff. So we're kind of breaking up these product introductions a little bit at a time, but bear with us. We'll get everything added pretty soon. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sweet.
And last but not least, releasing tomorrow. Stay tuned, but we'll give you a little sneak peek because, we love our viewers at home. Mudbucks 2.0. So if you're familiar with Mudbucks, it's a reward program here at Mudhole. We've revamped the program. We've actually added new tiers to this. So it's not just a one level as it is in now. We're actually going to have a 3-tier program, preferred, elite, and VIP. Obviously, the more more money you spend, the higher tier you go. It's just like any other rewards program.
That's cool.
And the cool thing is it's free to sign up. It doesn't cost you any money to do this. So It's kind of a no-brainer. If you shop frequently at Mudhole, sign up for the Mudbucks program. You'll see the newsletter released tomorrow with more information about this revamped program. It hasn't technically launched yet, so wait till tomorrow. You'll get the full details. But like I said, there's a tier program there, multiple tiers, and some really cool incentives the higher tier you get to. So look for those details tomorrow.
I can dig it. And I mean, we also do some sales or promotions at times where you like get extra mud bucks if you do this or that, right?
Yes. Yep.
So,
and going forward, we're also going to be doing exclusive deals or promotions for some of these tiers. So, you know, whether you are in that, you know, lowest level preferred or you're the highest level with the VIP, we might have some exclusive sales, but you have to be a member of the program to reap those rewards. So, yeah, sign up if you're not a member.
I can dig it.
Cool.
Sweet. We do have some giveaways tonight. We know that you guys come here for more than just us. So the first giveaway of the night, we're going to do the CRB Burnishing Tool Set. That is that a 5-piece set?
It is a 5-piece set.
All right, good guess. So the CRB Burnishing Tool Set, there's a bunch of different shapes in that kit, and they're very, very handy. Second giveaway tonight is going to be a 12-spool ProWrap metallic thread assortment kit. And some fiberglass mesh tape. For the grand prize, we're going to be doing a 4-spool rolling thread carriage for the RBS. Has a tension rod attachment, and we'll have an RBS rolling thread runner in there as well. So some of you guys have seen it, used it, bought it. I really like it. You know, I know some of y'all might run the 4-spool thread carriage maybe in front of you or behind you and kind of how you like it. But the good news is that having the 4-spool rolling thread carriage and the thread runner, it puts the thread carriage in the back with the little runner in the front, kind of keeps it out of your way, and it's got some magnets on it, things like that, so you're not constantly losing things like razor blades. Not that, you know, anybody would accidentally drop them and they would disappear, but, you know, it happens. So those are the giveaways, and as always, and I know this happens, and I'm not calling anybody out, but throughout the show, we're going to talk about sending an email to live@mudhole.com. If you win, if you get your name called, live@mudhole.com. We're going to talk about it all night long. So I know there's times, you know, we get phone calls and emails and it goes to this person and that person and this person and that person. Just send it to live@mudhole.com. It comes right to me, and then that way we can get you situated and get your prizes out the door. And if you haven't entered into the giveaway, I'm sure there's people out there like, how do I enter? How do I enter? I can promise you the team in the war room right now is putting up the link. You go to the link and you can enter once, and then you have multiple, you know, additional options to enter, which gives you 2, 3, 4 entries into it. And of course, if we call your name, and let's say you're watching this a week later, you know, what's tonight? The 22nd? Should know that since it's my wife's birthday. Happy birthday to my wife, who is not watching the show or the previous 114 episodes. So hopefully she's having a good birthday and not learning how to do decorative dragon scale straps. So anyway, if you, yeah, I know.
Sorry.
I know. Anyway, so enter in the giveaway. If you're watching this a week later and you just now notice, oh my gosh, they called my name, the giveaway's still good. We're not redrawing names. If you don't like, raise your hand in the chat. So don't worry about it. If you're watching in Australia and it's tomorrow morning already, you can still win. A week later, a month later, just watch it and you'll be good. You can enter and do additional entries until we close the show tonight. When the Hot Pockets get hot, we close it down. Can't enter anymore. We're done with the show. So what else do we have? Anything else? Anyone? Anything for the Peanut Gallery?
I don't think so. Got any comments you want to hit before we get into it?
Golly, I don't think so. There's a few people in there this evening. I think we're probably just going to go ahead and dive right in. So the first demo is Dragon Scale with the, we're not doing thread method first, are we?
Whoa.
All right, so we're going to call an audible already. And
Mesh
that was
tape.
probably on me. So we're doing the mesh tape first because it's the easier one. Now, a couple things to talk about with this mesh tape. Fiberglass mesh tape. Some people call it drywall mesh tape. It's mesh tape, okay? You can see it's got holes in it, squares, if you will. These little individual pieces, you can pull them out, you can cut them, you can cut this lengthways, horizontal. You can't really tear it, so you need some sharp scissors, which I think I left on the other table. But this is really, really good for arbors. If you like doing arbors with this, I personally don't, but you can certainly do it. We get into this argument a lot. But of course, we also use it for a dragon scale thread wrap. It's the like yellow and gray ones, right? Are they over there? Yeah, they're there. Anyone? Gosh, Jake, where are you when we need you? Jake's in Indy at the FFA conference. Yeah, right? Let me catch it in my teeth.
Safety first, boys.
Yeah, right? Perfect. All right. Thank you, offset person. Now, one quick thing before we get into this. When you pull this out, and what I do is I pull it out and I tack it to the table because there is adhesive on this. When I pull this off and I cut it like this, do not let it just fall. Sorry, Matt. Do not let it just fall back onto the roll, because you want to talk about tough to find. This is tough to find, okay? So before it goes back down, I just fold a corner and flag it, okay? So flag it like that, because I don't know if you guys caught it when we were starting the show, but I was looking for it for 5 minutes. So anyway.
Pro tip number one.
Yeah, pro tip number one. Let me get this one out of the way here. This will be the spooky stuff later. This is the thread one that I was working on. So a couple things.
No?
Yeah, we'll put this one in. If you haven't seen a dragon scale,
I was going to say, I think we got to show that.
We got to show it, right? All right. So if you haven't seen a dragon scale wrap, let me pivot this a little bit to you there, Mr. Cool Man. Oh, you got it. Yep. Oh no, are we going above?
Overhead, yep.
All right. We got the little man up in the rafters this evening. Okay. So that is a dragon scale. This is like copper ProWrap metallic. Now, before you ask the question, can you use size A or size D? I typically use size A. Not for, I do have a couple reasons why I do it. I feel, and correct me in the comments as you always do if I'm wrong, but I prefer size A because I feel like that I can pack it a little bit tighter together. And because we're going to be wrapping over the top of something, if I feel like the size A is a little easier to manipulate, whether you're using this yellow burnishing tool, whether you're using one of the black colored CRB burnishing tools, or, I like to have the old thread tool combo. I'm a thread pick person. I like that. And then of course it's got these little kind of scissors in there. It allows you to cut the mesh tape and stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that out since Hunter's paying tonight.
Mm-hmm. I got you.
Yeah.
We got plenty of them.
Plenty of them.
I hope we do.
Golly, right? Wait till they're out of stock. Anyway, all right, so burnishing tool, a thread pick, and the little snips. Because like I said, you can't really rip and tear that fiberglass tape all that easy, but you're going to need scissors and then these little guys. All right, so that's what a dragon scale looks like. I'm going to slide over here a little bit to show you what one looks like in the kind of beginning stages, right? This is just wrapped halfway over this mesh tape. So this is what the mesh tape looks like. Okay. Very easy. You notice that
Nice.
It's at an angle, because you're going to want to start it, and I'll show you this in a second. You're going to want to pull it and start it at an angle like that, and then of course it gets down here on the far right, and that's how it terminates. Now, most of the time, I'm going to do this before I put my grips on, kind of depends a little bit on the grips. If you need to slide the fighting butt over the top of it, and this is assuming that it's in the split part of a handle section. I like to do it before that I put everything on, because if I'm going to use a fighting butt that comes from the butt side and then the grip comes down from the top, what you can do is you could cheat a little out here on these ends. You don't have to get as picky. You don't have to be as precise. It's not as tedious, sort of, right? As opposed to, I'm going to show you real quick. Don't go anywhere. So here we have where we've put it inside of a split grip, right? So this was done after the grip was already on it, okay? And this is, before anybody asks, this is the new Fuji Prisma. Prisma. The Fuji Prisma. I particularly like this color. You can see it's kind of like a chameleon-y kind of, what did you say the color was called?
Galaxy.
Galaxy. Sure. So it kind of has a chameleon look to it. To me, it looks like camo, which is why I did it. This is color 701, size A. I think it only comes in A, right?
I think so.
Yeah. I think, there's a reason for that, obviously. So it kind of has a camo look, and I added this in here after, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So that's kind of the what on earth is a dragon scale wrap and how to do it. I really like it. It's fairly simple, especially if you're using the mesh tape method. Let's talk about a few little odds and ends that make this easier, okay? So I'm going to slide this over here so we get some room.
Yeah, the cool thing about dragon scale to me is you will not
Sorry, I
find
just need that, right?
you won't find dragon scales or these type of decorative wraps typically on a factory rod.
Nope.
You will only see this in the custom rod building world, or if it's a small time rod building company, you might see it, but you're not going to see a dragon scale on any factory rods or any large brands,
Typically not. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Dragon scale is pretty specific to the rod building community, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You might see a decorative, diamond wrap or a chevron or something maybe on a factory
Yeah,
rod.
you do. You're right. You see cross wraps and stuff on it.
Yeah, but like marbling, dragon scale, there's a few unique decorative aspects that are really just true to custom rod building. And
Kind of live here with us.
it's, kind of cool. So
Yeah.
kudos to the dragon scale.
Absolutely. Actually, I'm going to hand me that piece of blank right there, the larger size, because it's darker and this one already has a bunch of stuff all over it. All right, so there was partially, kind of sort of what it looks like. So let's go to this one, a little bit larger diameter, and we'll talk about how to start and stop and things like that. As I had mentioned before, are you going to be able to see that, Uncle Phil, in the overhead? Good enough, right? Because once we start putting the mesh tape on there, it should pop. Okay, this is the full width mesh tape. Okay, full width. Now, it's not to say that you can't use the full width. This rod blank is probably about a flipping stick size, so it's not like a big offshore, but what ends up happening is when we start this, you can start it at various angles, right? Depending on how you want your dragon scale to look. I tend to start it where it's kind of a little bit of a diamond pattern. So if the rod blank is like this, and you notice now all these little squares are kind of in a diamond, right? So again, we can like tack this to it. But if you notice when you come around, we're overlapping like a pretty good chunk, right? This you don't want to do, because anytime you wrap over it, you'll notice it almost eventually, like right there, it's completely blocked off. So you're really not going to get any kind of a decent print through from the mesh tape to your thread, right? So I tend to, and Hunter, I think, let's try to do this. If you would hold that, I'm going to cut, instead of putting it, what I typically do is I take the mesh tape and I stick it to the table. But I'm going to see if I can stick it here and then cut it. And then that way Matt can, it's not below the table. You guys following me? So take sharp scissors, and an approximate good place to start is cut this pretty much in half, right? So I'm just kind of holding it out here. As you can see, I just have it stuck to the rod blank. The only reason it is stuck to the rod blank right now is so that it is above the table. Because usually I'll stick it down here to the table and then I'm working below the table and you guys can't see it. So I normally don't do this. There's no reason to do this except so that y'all can see at home. So I tend to cut it about half width or shade a little to one side or the other. There is one thing I want to tell you though. Let's go back up top. If you notice, obviously this is a grid. So you have material going this way. You have material going up and down. These solid lines, you can actually grab one of these and pull it out. So you grab it and pull it, right? The reason that we might do something like that is because when you're wrapping around this in a spiral motion, I personally do not want to have a solid vertical line butted up against another solid vertical line. Okay? Let me show you why I did that in this one, and I don't like it. Okay? See right here? Uncle Phil, can you? No, I just need to slide it over. Okay. I didn't know how like zoom you were. Okay. So solid line, solid line. See how close those two solid lines are? It's not maintaining the proper width on the grid, right? Because when you cut the mesh, you didn't either pluck one of the verticals out and tear it away, or you just didn't cut it to fit like that. So see here, I really don't like that. Then what ends up happening is right here, if these are touching, it almost creates like a knot right there at that cross. So what ends up happening is if you pull the thread like a little too tight, it wants to go to one side of the other of that knot rather than just flowing over the top of it, if that makes sense. And I'll show you kind of here in a second exactly what I'm talking about. But that's what it looks like when I don't want to have two vertical lines directly side by side. All right? So I'm just going to kind of quickly cut this so we can get going. I usually just cut right at one of the verticals. If you get a sharp pair of scissors, you can just kind of use it as a line here. So I'm actually going to tear away this centerpiece. I'll show you in a second. So if I have it cut on a table, you know, I usually just take it and cut it like that, right? So let me show you here. This is not what I do. See the two here? I've got no solid line out here and I've got no solid line out here, okay? Because what that would do when those meet up, it's like this, right? So I will not use this piece, okay? So I'll just take it and remove it. Then if you look on this one, I've got a solid line here and a solid line out here. But what I do is I just use that line as a guide, and then I'm just going to pluck this piece, and I'm pulling this vertical piece out. Show you here, I'll get there in a second. All right, so I pulled that vertical piece out, right? So now I got an open side and a closed side. Probably a better way to put that, huh? All right, now we're just going to cut this. All right. And then, of course, there's a little trial and error on getting your angle just right, okay? You can tack this down. I try not to handle this too heavy because it is sticky. It's not real sticky, but it's sticky enough that like it'll tack to the rod blank, but you don't want to handle it too much. Okay, see, we missed there, right? There's just too much of a gap. We're just going to adjust the... Yeah, Hunter, why don't you do a little something about it? I'm kidding. All right, so we just kind of just adjust it. Now, you can see it coming together now here, right? And all I'm doing is like moving it a little this way, a little that way, okay? And I just barely want that solid line just to touch the outside of those open-ended horizontal lines, right? Now, I know probably what you're thinking. Is it possible to ever get this line and this line to line up? If you get it every time, go play the lottery and give me a call and send me a picture. Because there is a little bit of a taper, and because this mesh tape is not perfect, it's going to be virtually impossible to get it to line up every single time. The good news is that like the magic eye poster trick that the dragon scale metallic causes, it's not going to be like super gaudy standout where you're like, whoa, what the heck happened there? Now, if you notice, I'm kind of having to manipulate this through here, and we just so happen to like magically line it up. It doesn't hardly ever happen, as you can see, but there's taper in this rod blank, right? So we're kind of having to constantly move it and adjust it, okay? Now, also keep in mind, when we measure for this, you're obviously going to be left with a weird open end here. Hang on. Sorry about that, Uncle Phil. You're going to be left with an open end here, an open end here. Sometimes they're offset. We're doing this to really only get like this much of the dragon scale, right? So if you pre-measure your dragon scale, knowing that, I don't know, you've got 5 inches in that split grip, definitely make sure you're running this out here. You know, run it out here if you're going to use this much. Same with when we've shown you cross wraps and other things like that. Okay? Now, one thing that I do with this, now that it's laid down and it's, you know, like I said, it is tacky to it, I actually take, borrow that, Mr. Hunterman.
Go for it.
Let me see, get this thing turned on. You don't have to use the power wrapper to do this, but, you know, we'll use it throughout the night here and there. What I do is I take masking tape, right? This is the 1/2 inch masking tape. And I start off of the wrap, or off of the mesh tape out here. I go around once. Why didn't you put any candy in the bowl there, Hunter? Come on, man. What is this? I go around once and I turn it over, right? So the sticky side's down and I spin it and now it's sticky side up, right? And I actually take and I add tension and I go down the wrap, okay? So when I go down the wrap like that, this is really, really tight to this. And then I go and I leave it under tension and I walk away and I'll go like, oh yeah, maybe I want to use this color thread, or maybe I'm going to use this color thread, or like, you know, whatever. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to get all my stuff situated. And then I just come back and I pull the band off of the power wrapper. And then I just back this off. And all that does is to help lock this down really nice and smooth. Because if you don't have it really, really nice and smooth, you can kind of sort of get up under one of these fibers and then one of the little whiskers will stick out from under the thread and stuff like that. And it can make your life a little bit more difficult than it is. You're probably asking, well, but aren't I going to then flatten this and it's not going to give me the same print through that I would have if I wouldn't have like compressed it? I don't believe so, because this is flat mesh. Okay, this is not round thread. This is not something that we're actually mashing down with the tape. I just don't, I've never seen it where it's like, oh, well, if I wouldn't have snugged it down with the masking tape trick, then I would have gotten a much better look. I just haven't seen it. So maybe a fraction of it, but I haven't seen it. So anyway, do that, and then you should be ready to kind of start wrapping. How does that sound, huh,
Yeah,
man?
sounds great.
Okay. So Let's do, how about we do like the little MHX green vibe here. Okay.
I had a comment
Yeah.
real quick here, a question.
Uh-huh.
This is Mark. Mark, you can absolutely put, let me see, can I do this? Here we go.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Yes,
Yeah.
you can absolutely put a decal over the Dragon Wrap. Now, what I would recommend is put a thin, once you put thread over your mesh tape or whatever you're using, apply a thin layer of epoxy over that thread before you apply the decal. Decals will adhere to epoxy much better than they will thread. So, and when I say a thin layer, I mean just wet the thread. That's all you're doing. You're not putting much at all.
Enough to make it like smooth. It doesn't need to be like ridgy.
Right.
Yeah, but you don't have to put like whatever your final coat layer is.
Exactly.
What you're saying.
Yeah. Thin layer. Then put your decal over that dried epoxy. Obviously, put that disclaimer in there.
Yeah.
And then when that, you're comfortable with the decal, then come back and put, your final coats of epoxy over top of that decal. What that'll do is give you a little bit of a floating effect, typically with that decal. Now, if you really want to enhance that floating effect, don't just do a thin layer of epoxy as your first base coat on the thread. Do multiple thin layers, build up that epoxy a little bit, put your decal over top of that, then a couple layers of epoxy over that, and then you'll see that decal have more of a floating effect. So, yeah, lots of extra info there, but to answer your question, yes.
Love it. Yeah, and that's, we've done that with, what is it, the Tiger Wrap, because that's what gives it that kind of depth and such. So, and anytime you add a little bit of depth, between finish and this thread, it's just going to make that dragon scale kind of, pop, I guess, right? All right, cool. We're going to take size A. Now, there's a couple things to understand here. Yes, using a power wrapper will move this along a lot faster. But you do have to understand that there is too much tension, not enough tension. If you add, and I'm going to show you some examples here of me like making a mistake to show you what it looks like when there's too much tension and stuff. But if you're under power, you have the chance of adding too much tension kind of without you knowing it. You're not going to break the thread, but you can add too much tension, and you can also, jump back and forth a little bit. The other thing that you have to be aware of is you need to do a little bit of packing and burnishing kind of as you go, because you're going over like ridges that you never do under like normal rod building circumstances, right? We always are constantly warning you like, oh, make sure that you prep your guide feet and make sure you do all this stuff so you're not having to go over these ridges. Well, now we're going to go over ridges, okay? And remember, see out here where you're like off the, sorry, Uncle Phil. See out here, you're off the thread, okay? So this is not, you can start out here to kind of like get yourself situated if this is under your grip, okay? Or it's, under where you're going to have like a trim band. Because, a lot of times when you have your cross wraps and stuff, you're going to kind of like burn that edge out there and add, either winding checks or grip or something like that. But you can come out here, kind of get it started, and then you can work your way into where you're gonna do it. But let me show you here real quick. See if we can get it started. Now I'm gonna try to put like too much pressure than I would run. And it stacks good, especially when you're doing like, golly, did you turn that sound up?
No.
Holy moly. So it definitely goes a lot faster. And you can see I'm not applying, because I'm holding it with my fingers, I'm not applying too much tension in here. Okay, there's really nothing like kind of sticking through. That's pretty good. Let me see if I can add. Sometimes when you have a, another tip too. Back out a little bit, Uncle Phil. If you're going to hand hold this, if you hold it this way, what's going to happen is your thread's going to go this way, and this thread is going to go back and forth, right? So you have the ability to accidentally put a little too much tension, or as this thread is coming back this way, and this thread is going this way, you'll get them misaligned, and then they'll jump the thread. And let me see if hang on, let me see. I'm going to try to jump that thread and show you what happens when if you backtrack on this. Okay, so it jumped there, right? So we're back over here. When you back this off, it's a little hard to see overhead, but we've now opened gaps here. I know that's hard to see. We've opened gaps here because this thread has jumped back over here, okay? And when you open gaps, the problem is that you have white fiberglass mesh tape under here, and you will see it, okay? So if you're going to handhold, turn the thread like this way. Hang on. Turn the thread this way, up and down, or this way, up and down. Because then as the thread is going this direction, okay, thread's going this way, and this thread on the spool is going up and down, and it's not going back and forth. So, and it also gives you a little bit sharper line that you can kind of look at, right? And you can go slow, you can go fast, but what I tend to do is come back out here, Uncle Phil, come off the top. What I do, rather than running it, this is where I'm holding it here in my hand, okay? And I'm running the thread like this, okay? What I'm going to do is and of course, you can see all the gaps that I just put in it. And I'll show you that in a second. Now look, take the band off, okay? And spin the wheel. Take your middle finger and put it on the outside here and spin it like this, right? With the ball bearings in the power wrapper in the head, you can actually get it going pretty quick, and you can back the tension off a little bit, okay? Then you're much more likely to stay nice and secure against the previous piece of thread. You're not going to get gaps in it, and you're going to roll it like that. Now, if I have a grip on a split grip, so imagine there is a split grip handle here and a fighting butt here. You can actually take and use that cork and put your hand on it and roll it like this, okay? It's a little hard to do it when it's just the blank, right? Because it's kind of slick. But if you have a grip here, or a real seat, or a foregrip or something, and if this is out in front of a foregrip, then just come back to this side. And this is how easy it will roll. Now, if you notice, I'm not putting so much tension on it that when I let go of the rod, that it backs up on me, right? As you go like this, or you want to put it on the back of the pulley here, we're rolling it so that when you go to tie this off and finish it, you can actually move the threads with your pick, with your burnishing tool, whatever, because the underneath is white mesh tape. You're going to see through it, and it's going to look bad. So you got a piece of, you bust me off a piece of that green, or this black nylon here, so I can tie this off and show them what this gap looks like. Sweet. Thank you, sir. Mm-hmm. And of course, I know a lot of times you can use a bobbin. It kind of adds to it.
Yep, that was one of Kevin's questions here. I'll go ahead and throw that one up. Can you use a bobbin holder? Absolutely,
yeah,
you can.
For sure.
Yep.
I was just kind of, for people that don't have a bobbin and they kind of want to mess with this. All right. We'll just do this live. How about that? That'd be great.
That's a great idea.
All right, let me just get this tied off here, and then I'll show you what some of the gaps look like. But I will say, when you do the masking tape over the top of the mesh tape, it does lock it down. It does smooth it out. You can run it under power. using size A metallic. It is doable, but if you haven't done it before, I might forego the power unless you just start practicing with it rather than doing it on a regular rod, like a build. Okay, Uncle Phil, come back overhead. Let me show you what these gaps look like. Right here. So I'm just going to kind of like work this back and forth. You can see all the little white dots in it. It kind of look like on this side here because the light's not real hot on it. See all these little white dots, right? These are all little white dots. Those are gapped in the thread. If you notice, there's none over here. And then all of a sudden, whoop, it's like white dots all through here. This is actually the white mesh tape showing through because there's gaps in this thread. And you can kind of see it there. See all those little fine lines? That's where it skipped, or, you know, when you start adding too much pressure, you're making the thread like choose a direction, right? So rather than just stacking the thread under, you know, pretty decent tension, but not like super snug, if you start adding too much tension, you're going to force that thread to want to jump to one side or the other of these little ridges. So that's just something to think about there. All right. What do we think? We're okay there?
Yep, doing good.
Let me show you here another one. Uncle Phil, back out and I'll show you. So this one here is kind of another example of, you can see even at a distance all these little white dots in this one here. All right. All these little white dots at the top. All those little white dots there. That's all of it showing through. And then I'm going to slide over here. See this one? No white dots, right? So that one is burnished properly. And the other thing I do before we move on, this has color preserver on it. We do not normally say, hey, metallic has to have color preserver. I'm not using color preserver because it's metallic. I'm using color preserver because the thread is not like bowstring tight. So I want to be able to manipulate the thread, get it exactly where I want to. Everything is perfect. No white showing through, nothing. Move this one, move that one, get it all perfect. And then I want to put, like right immediately, I want to put color preserver on it. It'll lock it in place. And then that way, if I am finishing under power and I press my brush down a little too hard, or I'm taking brush strokes across the top here, I then just don't accidentally roll a thread because maybe one wasn't tight enough or as tight as I want. Now I roll a thread, there's already finish on it. Now I can see the white, and then we get really excited at ourselves, like super excited. So yeah, that's that. There are times too, I think there's a metal spatula over there. It looks like a dental tool. You could tell I was working off set earlier. I forgot to grab it. Thank you, cool man. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. So this is a piece out of the spatula set. Okay. I like it because I actually press down on this and I'll press this thread against the mesh tape. Let me put the belt on here. I will put this against the mesh tape and kind of press it to it, and then I'll add color preserver. I use this pointy end of this. See how it's kind of pointy and scooped, sort of? Pointy and scooped, right? I can use this to kind of manipulate it, and then I can lean it on there, press it down a little bit. Now, I'm not like standing on this, pressing it, but all of this little bit of mesh tape and stuff, I kind of want to make sure that the thread is set. When it is set, then add the color preserver. But I kind of use this sometimes being metal. And sometimes if you run a burnishing tool on this and you're like running high RPMs on any thread and you use a plastic burnishing tool, sometimes you can like heat the plastic up and put a little plastic on your thread, but the metal's not going to do that. So,
Cool.
what do you think?
Got several questions about do
we
you have to use, oh, there we go. Forget I got to hit it twice there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to use metallic thread? There's been several questions about, you know, do you have to use metallic or can you use any other threads? We'll probably touch on this a little bit later, not to go too in depth right now. You don't have to use metallic thread.
Yeah.
But metallic is going to give you the best effect.
Yeah.
This mesh tape, or even if you use thread, it has texture, right? It's going to be raised off the blank. If you come in with, say, you know, black would be, you know, let's not use black thread at all.
Don't ever use black.
Don't use black thread at all.
Don't even use black metallic.
But if you use, let's say, a green nylon, you're not going to get the best effect out of the dragon scale, because having those raised edges and having that grid pattern or diamond pattern, the metallic is going to reflect light more. It's going to pop more. Yep. With, you know, a nylon or even a color fast, you're not going to get that more pronounced look. So that's why we typically default to metallic.
Yeah, just a regular nylon or color fast thread, non-metallic thread, you're just going to look like it's just like a checkerboard underneath the thread. And then maybe that's what you want. But as Hunter said, if the metallic is on there, the metallic is like it different and it hits light, and that's what really kind of makes it. But I mean, if you just want it to look like a checkerboard with nylon or color fast thread, then have at it. But use metallic, and you can use all different kind of metallics. Like, yes, I say use size A, but that's not hard and fast. If you found some, you know, crazy color changing thread of some sort and you want to use it and it's metallic and it's only in another size, then use it. Just be aware that if it is not rod building thread and it is coated with something, it can, not always, it can react with the epoxy finish. Okay, it's the same thing why those that use like Madeira or other sewing threads for decorative wraps or guide wraps or whatever, that's not a rod building thread. Yes, we sell it, but it's not a rod building thread. It has a coating on it, so it runs through a sewing machine much easier, but it can at times like fisheye and react with the finish. But it doesn't matter, because I already told you to use color preserver, which is very rare for me, but we're using it in this case just to get everything locked down. So you can pretty much use anything you want, thread-wise, even if the thread is coated, because it's a sewing thread. So,
cool. How about a giveaway?
Yeah,
I think it's time.
Already 7:22.
Yeah, let's do the CRB Burnishing Tool Set. And as you mentioned, it's a 5-piece set.
Yes.
Let's run that giveaway and see who the first lucky winner is for tonight.
Looking for a good name. Like a real good name.
Yeah,
All this like Bob Smith last time.
Yeah,
that was...
Yeah.
Can't have that.
I love
We did
that.
like a whole show without like a really good name.
Jeffrey F. All right.
Come on, last
Stand
name.
by for last name. Give the guys just a second to...
I want to see like 11 consonants in this thing.
No.
No vowels.
Jeffrey Frank. How about that? I like Frank, or what's another good...
All right.
Stand by.
What we do is we're waiting for security purposes. They don't put it in here. We get it to the teleprompter because those in the war room can see it. But evidently it's taking a little bit to bounce off the satellites tonight. Yeah.
You get those Starlinks.
The guy, yeah, right. We need one of those Starlinks. Maybe CRB needs to get a CRB
Pro.
Starlink. Yeah, an anodized blue Starlink. Maybe we just don't have anybody in the war room tonight. Has everybody like got?
Hello?
Yeah, right. They got wing sauce on the keyboard, or what's going on in there? Cool. All right, I'm gonna pull this off while we're waiting on Jeffrey's name. And
yeah, what do we got next, Chris? We got the thread method, right?
We do have the thread method, but I just want to make sure.
Is that am I is that correct? Okay. Jeffrey Firestein.
Firestein? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it could go either way.
It's all right.
Either way, congrats, Jeffrey.
It's a layup.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. It's It's like a
little
free,
softball.
maybe not a layup, maybe a free throw sort of. Or a,
Yeah. We're just getting warmed up here.
yeah, it's not one from half court, that's for sure. Okay. Oh, real quick, hang on. Let me talk about, in case, I won't be long with this, but something to consider. If you have I'm going to slide this over just a little bit. What if we're doing this against the split grip? Hand me that far split grip, not this closest one.
This one?
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Mm-hmm. All right, so we got a split grip here. If the grips are already on here, you have to kind of work around them, if you will, right? So you got to start and stop. So I got a piece of tape here on the blank, and I don't have a scientific method to give you in terms of like angles and, you know, rise over run type stuff. But imagine you're going to have to put mesh tape against a hard stop here and a hard stop down here. So what I like to do, here you go, Hunter Man. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
I'm going to take my mesh tape, and I'm going to do this kind of quick, so just bear with me. Always fold the flag over so that I'm not screaming because I boogered it up before. Cutting a piece. Now you see why I did it on the rod blank earlier, so you guys could actually see it.
Yeah, Bill, the black metallic is probably
We did it. We've done it. Don't do it.
yeah.
Just take our word for it.
I hit the wrong one there. Sorry about that. Anyway, Bill, I saw your comment there about black metallic. Although it would be a nice subtle touch,
It's too subtle.
You can't see it. Yeah, so
Too subtle.
avoid black metallic.
Like, just get a little bit, like, just don't use black. You can go like a darker shade of silver for subtle, but black just disappears. All right, we got a piece here. Pull this outer edge so that we get an open side. All right. Now, if we are using this piece of tape as a hard edge, it's tough to start it over the top of a grip because you are going to be working with, like, the grip's going to be raised up, but you want this edge to be, you want it to be butted up against the grip, right? You don't, sorry, I just don't want to push you off there, Hunter Man. Okay. So you want this mesh tape to be butted up this imaginary grip, which is this piece of tape, right? So what I do is I will take it and do an approximate, like fold it over the top to see where this piece crosses, okay? So I have a kind of a hard cross there where it is now it's right on the rod blank, okay? So I take that piece that's right there and I back this off and I cut it from that corner to that piece, okay? So that right there is about where it was coming down to the rod blank, and I just cut it at an angle here. Now it might be a little trial and error to get it right, but then that way you can butt your mesh tape up against your fake grip, right? That was a little bit of an overlap. You can see kind of how we got a little bit of an overlap there. If that happens, you can actually back this off. And if you do, adjust the pitch of this angle, okay? Keep the same starting point down here and adjust the pitch this way or that way. And then it's just a little bit of a trial and error, right? Because it doesn't have to be exact, because most of the time we're going to then put a winding check or something. But see, so we just kind of adjusted the pitch a little bit and we got it there. And then we're just going to kind of manipulate it like we were doing before. And you can actually take the tape sometimes and work it around the rod blank. And then there we go. See? That's how you start up against a hard edge of a grip, right? So just go around, cut your angles. Sometimes you got to adjust the pitch just a little bit. And then kind of the same thing when you're working back this way and you're kind of done, I actually use these little snips. And as I work around and it starts to butt up against the grip down here, I just start, like, honestly, I start whittling away at it, right? I'm just cutting each little piece. And then I work it around a little. Once I find the edge, and you can cut it like that. Cut it there. Cut it there. And then that's how you're going to have a sharp edge down on this side. And you can take a razor blade and cut it like that if you want. But I do like to just kind of work my way around. And really it's becoming an angle here as it's going to then butt up against the back of the grip. So just like that. Cut your vertical, cut your horizontal. And then I'll just finish it off here so you can kind of see. All right, we got a stray hair there. And then that's how you'll finish it off on a hard edge there, right? So I was going quickly so you can see there's a little bit of boogers here. That's not real great. But remember, this is not locked in. You can manipulate this with your fingernail, with your thread burnishing tool, kind of get it back straight, and then take the masking tape, turn it over, and run it. Okay, that's how you hard stop it. Sorry, I'm making sure I don't miss anything.
No, that's a great tip. Great tip.
Because we all kind of are like, oh, I really want to add a dragon scale to that rod now, and I've already put my handle on it. Already been there.
And most people do, I feel like, put their dragon scales in the grip section, either split grip or above your foregrip, you know, somewhere in that area. So you're usually against a grip or a hard surface there. So
yeah.
So this is a good one. Jonathan said, the guy that just bought my last rod loved the black metallic dragon scale. So hey, there you go. To each his own, right? You know, there's sometimes that subtle look. Yeah,
exactly.
Sure he did. No, you know, some people do like that.
I'm kidding.
So, to each their own.
All right.
What you got next?
Oof.
Thread method, huh?
Yeah, you guys are really gonna love.
I think everybody's gonna do the mesh tape after they see how the thread method is done.
It's not that bad.
It's not.
But it is like a cross wrap. It's really just a cross wrap. It's just we're doing it on an 8-axis. And for those that do, you know, all these kind of crazy cross wraps, I'm not one of them because I just don't care to do it. It's not because I can't, but usually what ends up happening is I need to build a fishing rod tomorrow because I got a guide trip the next day, and I just don't have time to do a bunch of decorative thread stuff. So let's talk about doing it with the thread method. I'm going to put kind of what it looks like here. Get it all chucked in here. All right. What do I need to do? Slide to the left, Uncle Phil? All right. This is all size D thread now, okay? Let me break this down of kind of what this is. So you see that there is a solid black line underneath here, running straight, okay? And then it just runs on out here. I just wanted you, I ran it out here just so you could see it better rather than being underneath here, okay? So from this tape line to this tape line is 6 inches. I just did it because it's about the span of a split grip sometimes. So is what it is. I picked 6 because we're going to talk about the midpoint, and the midpoint of 6 is 3, so that helps as well. I'm going to try to keep the math as easy as possible, not for you, for me. And again, size D thread really doesn't matter if it's color fast or nylon or whatever. But you're going to notice there is a line there at what we'll call 12 o'clock. We have another line at 3 o'clock. We have another line at 6 o'clock, and we have another line at 9 o'clock. So we have 4 straight lines that are running down this rod blank. What that's doing is that's going to give us a map of where we're going to cross these threads all the way down this thing. There's a couple things you're going to need. One is a butt wrap alignment tool. And even though the butt wrap alignment tool is not in stock, it's not in stock for a very good reason. It's because it's new and improved. Hunter Man, you want to give them a quick little spiel here about?
Yeah, let's do it. Can we get a little zoom out real quick? Yeah, I'll stay right here. So, butt wrap alignment tool. You guys, I'm sure you've seen this on the website. If you haven't signed up for it and you want it, hit that email when available button. This thing will be in stock early next year. We made some really cool upgrades to this. For one, you'll notice the channel along the bottom has an opening. So that way when you're doing your marks at 0 and you typically will turn your rod blank to 180 degrees, you can actually flip this thing on its back, see underneath, and see where your marks are. So pretty cool upgrade there. We've also upgraded the slat. We've put the markings, whether you want to do inches or millimeters. We've got both that are pad printed onto the slat now.
What about centimeters? Are they on there too?
That's a...
It's a joke.
Oh.
Centimeters, millimeters, you know.
Sorry, okay.
Yeah.
Threw me off there. Yeah, got that on the slat, so you don't have to worry about a sticker or anything else.
This is America.
Yeah, inches rule. And now going to the underside, we've also put some nice padded feet, little rubber feet that will help you have a little traction on your workbench. This thing won't be sliding all around. And on the back side, we also have the rubber feet. So when you do push this thing onto its backside, same deal. It's not going to move around anywhere. So anyway, same concept, same tool as before, but a few upgrades in the queue, and we will have this available early next year. So stay tuned for that.
Sweet. All right. Moving right along. Thank you, Hunter Man. All right, so I'm not going to say you absolutely have to do 4 lines on this rod blank. You can get away with just doing a 12 and a 6. Now, I have done it with 2 and with 4. I think if you're going to go all in and do the best you can for maybe your first couple times, doing 4 lines will allow you to follow along from one dot as you rotate 90 degrees. You can go to a very specific point, dot, and you rotate it another 90, and then you have a dot to hit, and then you rotate it another 90, and you have a... So every time you rotate it 90 degrees, you're actually hitting a dot. We don't always do that in a cross wrap, but we're also not always doing a 8-axis cross wrap, which is really what a dragon scale is. So I will say to do the 4 lines rather than just the 2, but technically you can get away with 2. It's just going to be a little, I don't know, it's going to be a little tougher. And especially when you're trying to line things up, because you're going to have to come back in here and push this thread down a little bit and move this one up a little bit, you know, because you're going to want all of these little squares. See, like that one's out of place. You're going to want all these little squares and crosses to be the same width. Otherwise, it's just not going to look as clean. So if you get out here in between your 2 lines, right, and that little bit of 90-degree open area, right, from one line to the next, the shorter that line is, being at 90 degrees, one to the next, you don't have as big of just open bare space to kind of work with, where you're kind of looking here and then you're having to go 180 degrees to fix it, and 100 back, and 180 degrees, and 100. You can just go like 90 to 90, 90 to 90 like this and kind of bounce through, and then you can turn it over and do 90 to 90 and kind of work like that. It's just a little bit easier to work with, because you can see this can be quite the thing. Okay, so let me show you how to lay it out and how to get from a bare rod blank to this thing here. So, anybody so far? Going like, well, that's it. I'm just going to do the mesh tape.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
You haven't lost them yet.
Exactly. Stand by. Dial 9-1 and stand by for now for the last one. All right. This is going to be a little tough to see from that point of view. I am going to, let me move this, Uncle Phil. So I'm going to take this down, and then we can just put it here in the basement. All right. CRB butt wrap alignment tool. Also, I have a little note card since I'm great at math. That's why I'm a fishing guide. I'm going to use my phone for a calculator. You remember that time that your teacher was like, yeah, you're not going to carry a calculator with? Yeah. Take that, Miss Henderson. All right. So, and one of these, right? This is a circle combo for like drafts people, right? So it's just a circle template, right? And it goes all the way from a 1/16 of an inch circle all the way to 1 7/8, all right? What this is going to do is this is going to be, it's going to take a little bit of the human error aspect of the getting the four corners in the circle. Because if you look here, cool man, you will notice on these circles, we've got a 12, a 6, 9, and 3, right? So we're going to put the rod blank through there, and then we're going to mark the four little corners, and then we're going to take that rod blank and we're going to go into the rod burnishing, or the, what is this thing called?
That thing, yeah.
Yeah, that
ProWrap alignment tool.
ProWrap alignment tool. 2.0.
2 coming soon.
Coming soon. All right, so we're going to take a blank here that you can see. And what I have done is I have put a piece of tape back here. This piece of tape is going to be kind of a starting point in terms of this edge is going to line up on the 0 line of your butt wrap alignment tool. You got to have a hard stop, because as you're turning this and making your marks, you can't be like off a little bit, because remember, we got to make a bunch of little lines, measurements at 12, 3, 6, and 9. And if you start like rotating it and sliding it this way and sliding it back this way and sliding it this way, it could be a mess, like real quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the, this is like a one-sided thing. Let's see. Sometimes you got to do a little trial and error to see where the blank fits into it, right? Well, we just hit it perfect the first time. Get it in there snug, okay? See, right? And there's a bunch of hole options. Get it in there snug. Now, I am going to, real quick, and I've jumped ahead here. Where this is snug, you can see it's ahead of my like tape line, okay? What I typically do is I find where I'm going to put my initial marks, okay? Because there is a little bit of give and take here, just like we talked before. And then what I'll do is I'll make my like hard edge where those lines are, right? So that when we do that, that's kind of your like 0 mark. Let me slide this up a little bit. And I'll put a piece of tape there just so that y'all can see it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the marker that I hid from myself, take a little Sharpie, a little fine point Sharpie, see if it still works. Be a good time for it to work. All right, and I'm going to make, I'll mark it 12, 3, come on Sharpie. 6. I don't think we put the batteries in this thing. Must be a rechargeable one. Okay, now when you do this, do not mark on this side, because if you mark on this side and then you take this thing and slide it off, you got a pretty good chance of just smudging your marks, right? I don't know how on earth I figured that out.
Never done that
I
before,
couldn't
huh?
have possibly have ever done that. All right, so now the tape is just a cheat mark for me. It's not even, it doesn't like have to be per se, but what we can do is I'll leave that piece of tape in it and, yeah, sorry.
Gotcha.
So that piece of tape can be like the 0 mark, right? And when this piece here like locks down, see it slides and it kind of locks down, you can actually butt that tape up against it, right? And then it's like nice and snug. And it kind of doesn't want to go beyond it. Now we're going to use the Sharpie. We're going to draw a line. Now you can come out here, you know, we can mark it at 6 or 8 or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It just depends on how much you're going to be working with, but I'm just going to, for this. This is important though. You really, really need to know, well, sorry. You have to make sure that when you put your little Sharpie down here, that you're on top of your mark, okay? I like go right on top of it and kind of give it a quick little check behind the mark, not out in front of it, right? And then I just rotate the blank a little bit. Then we're gonna mark our mark. Okay? So there we have a line. Sweet. All right. Got through the first one without screaming. We're going to go to the next one. Okay. Got another one. Okay. Got another one? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Final one. All right. Thank you, Butt Wrap Alignment Tool, for helping me through that. All right. So there's our 4 lines. Now, if we are going to pick like how long we want this thing, if we want to make it 6 like before, or if we want to make it 7 because then we're going to use kind of burn the inside of it, just you can like put you a little spot. Make sure your tape's lined up. Put your little spot out here. And I'll show you one in a second.
Back up just a little bit. Your head's in the... Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's my fault. It's just me forgetting that I have an overhead. Being goofy. But my hair did, you know.
It's that puffy hair, man.
Shh, get out of here. Shut up, Uncle Phil. All right. Now let's just put a piece of tape there so we know that it's, or we're kind of locked in, right? Not the end of the world, but it'll give everybody kind of a point of reference here.
Before we move on, I'm seeing a couple comments about matching this up to the spine.
That you're an idiot.
Well,
yeah, I know, right?
Besides that.
No, I'm talking about me. They're saying I'm an idiot.
No, you're good, you're good. A couple comments about lining up these marks and whatever with the spine.
For sure.
Yeah, sure, you can do that if you want, but that's not required by any means.
No, it's certainly not required, but if this was going to be like a cross wrap, I key in a little bit more on that because like you're going to have a very defined, like you want everything perfectly in line because if you're doing like, you know, some cool like diamond wrap, I would love for that that kind of center main diamond to be like right on the spine, right?
Yep.
I kind of like the dragon scales kind of just, you know, I don't get too picky about that, but that's, I mean, that's a great observation for sure. I can dig it. All right. Now, here's where a lot of the fun starts. So, I kind of have it marked, and I have, you know, out here on the tape, we have it at, I'm actually going to let me put another piece of tape here. Just so that we're right on it, because I don't want anybody to get confused at. I'll put another piece of tape here, because what we're going to do is we're going to find the midway point. Sorry. All right. I'm actually going to use that right at 0. All right, so we'll call it 6.5. So it's 3 1/4. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 1/4. You can do this with tape, but I'm just going to do it quickly. $11.67. So we're going to call it $11.70, just for the heck of it. Now, we have to take $11.70, and we're putting it into the circumference, okay? So, but remember, circumference is 2 pi r, not 1170, okay? So we have to take 1170 and divide it by 2. We have 585, okay? Then we put 585 in here, and we get 3676. Isn't this great? Just wonderful math, okay? We're going to kind of, like, we're picking the midpoint because it's going to be a little bit thicker over here. It's going to be a little bit thinner over here, but there is not a giant taper, okay? So we'll call it 3676. We'll call it 3675. Now, sometimes I'll, like, make a little note on a piece of paper. This scribble fest over here. Could have been a doctor with my handwriting. I just didn't have the brains for it. So what did I say? 3675? At least that's what my mom says. Sorry to make fun of any doctors at home. That wasn't me. That was Mom. 3675. We're going to divide that by 2. Okay? 3675 divided by 2. So that is going to be 18. This Sharpie is just, I need a Sharpie deal. That is 2 axes. We're going to divide 18,375 divided by 2. So we're going to get what? 9 1/8. 91875. This is 4 axes. Then we're going to divide that by 2. We're going to get just a great number, 4.59, which we're just going to call it 4.5. So we were playing in millimeters this entire time. So I am then going to take my calipers, because I have inches down here. I could flip this thing and put the centimeters up, but I'm not going to do that. So what do we say, 4.5?
4.5.
We're going to get super close, if not perfectly just off of that. And you can lock your caliper in here at the top. You can see how great of a job it's doing. That's really me. All right, so I am then going to take my caliper and I'm going to come along my line. You notice the 0 is on the tape, right? I'm going to come here, and this is where a lot of the fun starts. This is where everybody's going to be super excited about doing it the thread way.
Ready.
Okay.
We're getting those comments now.
Yeah. So there's one line. I swear, this Sharpie. Somebody get CEO to Sharpie on the phone. Okay. So there is one line. Okay. So now all we have to do is do that the entire length of this 4 separate times. That's how great that's going to be.
I wish I could
Hey, so
see
what
his
happened
face.
to is the guy up there drunk? What happened to the focus? Oh, you know what? The focus is up a little bit. Let's see if this helps. Is that good?
Yeah,
Okay, that's better. Hunter, could you hold that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think this is what kind of low budget we got going on here, but we got it. All right. We're going to do this all the way out. So you see why I kind of like preloaded one of these, right? And you kind of like just work your way through, right? This is why you also lock your caliper in. Jeez. I'm not going to go all the way across, Hunter, since you're holding this for me.
Yeah, please don't.
But this is...
Man, I love mesh tape.
Yeah, right? Buying shots for mesh tape. I tell you what, I can hear the website. There's a hard run on mesh tape right now, folks. I promise you. All right, so anyway, all the way down, right? Now, one thing you got to pay attention to is when you go to rotate this thing, like don't do it immediately, right? Let's see how many I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. All right, so we then come over here. And the reason I say don't rotate it immediately, all right, Hunter, man, hold that, is you don't want to smudge anything when you rotate this. And I always rotate it like back this way because it doesn't like touch anything back this way, but it runs under here.
Move your head back.
Yeah, I was just trying to count to make sure I. So you can do it a little quicker once you kind of like get it marked. It's 1, 2, third one, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we're going to do that. We're going to rotate it. Now remember, over here, it's very easy to do like this. Okay? And now you just messed the entire thing up. Okay? So remember, we're like that. Need to be like this. Okay? We're just checking again. 1, 2, 3. So we'll count 1, 2, and hit it on the third. The Sharpie wants to work. My head in it.
Nope, good.
That's like I'm like peeking over. And I'm using this really fine tip Sharpie because you really do want to be as like super thin line and as precise as possible. Now remember too, you can kind of press this down. It'll kind of hold it in place. Come on. We should do this live next time. This would be great. Okay, so like I said, we're not going the whole way because I'll keep you guys here till like all hours of the night. This is what it looks like, like that. So the one thing that you have to like take account, and I'll show you this when we get to, I'm going to show you kind of some wrapping. With it being an 8-axis wrap, if you start right here, like right on the edge, we'll call that 1. As you go around the rod blank, right? So it's going to go this direction. It's going to go underneath and come back up. You're going to cross at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you're going to cross there. So you're going to be on 0 and at 8. And then the next one, you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you're going to cross again. You're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and cross at 8. So that's how you're going to get your wrap around it. Okay. Again, you didn't have to put all of these little marks on all 4, 12, 3, 6, and 9. But I promise you, it helps keep you in line as you go through this whole thing and you're not having to kind of jump back and forth. All right. I'm going to show you, I'm going to cut the one off I did a second ago, and I'm just going to kind of show you about what it looks like. Maybe I'll wrap a little bit over it and then I'll cut it off. But so anyway, are there any questions on that before we move on?
No, a lot of people are
stunned faces.
Are going to be buying mesh tape.
Yeah. It does. I promise you, it looks good though. Like it looks good.
It does. It does. It does. Back with the wrapper.
Oh.
Yeah, very precise. Absolutely. And apparently, I need to buy you some new Sharpies.
I need a CRB Sharpie. Golly, an old Sharpie ain't cutting it. Okay, so another thing to pay attention to is this down here is just like when you do a cross wrap, okay? You're going to come in down here and it's going to be like where it kind of starts is kind of messy. Out here where it finishes, it's just like kind of messy. So it can just be kind of a headache, honestly. But when you wrap over it, let's see what kind of... Now again, if I'm wrapping on this, I would have straightened it all out and put color preserver down. I didn't put color preserver down on this. So let's hope that it doesn't like kind of get haywire on me. But we'll do this and then I'll cut all this off like really quickly and then we'll show you. Nipper.
Mm-hmm.
I got it. Let's see if I can do this so we can save some time. Hang on, let me... Pretty sharp.
Yeah.
I mean, that looks pretty good. I know the colors are a little different, but there's the... You can see
it's better. Can't deny that.
It's a little more, I think it stands out a little more. And of course it should, because it has round size D thread underneath it. You can see the gaps I just put in it. Thank goodness I'm going to cut it off. So yeah, back that out a little. I mean, that is like...
Yeah, you can't deny
Woo!
That's a much better product.
That's pretty good. It definitely has a lot more. So when you were asking about like how it refracts light and all that stuff, it's not the red. It's clearly the higher, size D thread. I mean, clearly. Yeah, do that bottom shot, Uncle Phil. Throw that one that's in the preview. Look at that right there. So yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Like we've probably wasted more time at worse stuff than actually laying out one of these things. So that's pretty cool. All right. Let's make like Mary Christie and cut it off. How about that?
I like
Every
that.
time I watch her do that, I'm just like, just send it to me, don't cut it off. But I just pulled the belt off. I'm just gonna back this off.
Yeah, I think we're having some second thoughts in the comments now.
Yeah, they're like, all right,
Yeah,
all right,
okay,
all right,
okay, that looks good. Yeah, that looks pretty good.
All right. Thank you, sir. Keep hiding those razor blades.
There you go.
Oh, out here. Okay, let's cut this real quick. It's 8 o'clock. I know. I won't do a bunch of them, but I'll do one because I owe it to y'all. Try to do this without. I know.
That's painful.
Oh, is it? Did you do all this?
No, but I know how much time it took you to do it. So.
Yeah. All the screaming and yelling. I also wanted to show you guys something that, if you either like don't want to do an 8, or if you like booger it up, I want to show you kind of like what happens. Because I do have a tendency to try to show y'all what happens when you mess it up. I think it's just part of the fun. Okay. Now, another thing I would probably do is not, is especially if you're going to use a power wrapper or anything, honestly, give yourself a little more room down here by where you're going to put it in the chuck. But I'm gonna slide it down anyway. Okay, we're gonna put some tape just like you do. I'm actually gonna cover this piece up. All right, so remember, having the anchor point back here. Put your tape, turn it over. Can you see this in the overhead, Phil? Okay, I just want to make sure I was lined up before I got going. Okay, so we have anchor points. Now, this is what the 8-axis markings look like. Plenty of them, right? This blank was kind of about the same amount. I think these were like 4.25 instead of 4.5 millimeters all the way down. This is what 4-axis looks like. So see, there's double the amount. So this is 4, okay? You can do 4, but I'm just going to let you know the 4 is just going to look like an open, like kind of cross wrap. Right? So this is kind of what 4 looks like. It just kind of looks like big boxes, real big boxes. And then of course, there's obviously this is the mesh tape, you can see, but you can see how tighter the boxes are, right? So this is more like an 8, this is more like a 4. Not a right or a wrong, but I'm sure the question will happen, right? Okay, color fast. D-size thread. Remember, we've got 8 and 4 marks on here. So you're gonna come in on the first one, right? And as you come around, we need to go. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8's right there. Okay? And you just kind of maintain that same pitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8's there. 1, 2, 3, 6, 8. Is that right there? This is the hardest one, okay? Because you got to count. No, missed one. Okay, 8. All right, then you come out here and you kind of lock it down, right? Where's my cross? Oh, there it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to work our way back up, right? So there's where. And then now you just have to intersect those at your first pass. That one's a little off. You see how it's already kind of jumped off a little bit? So you might have to come back and make an adjustment. You back it up a little and roll it down a little. It's just like a cross wrap, right? Now this is kind of where you kind of have to, that's just me kind of boogered up because I got this, I didn't leave myself enough room, right? Now, so here was my original at like mark 0, right? Right there. So you can actually set that down because that's locked down. You can slide this down just a little bit. Make sure that one's right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on it, sort of. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, sort of on it. Okay, better. Now remember, you don't have to do this, you don't have to be this exact on every single pass where you're counting, because all now you're going to do is just follow the leader all the way through this, right? And then I come back here on the back 180 axis and make sure we're all good. Now this one is like a little off, but I just kind of rushed it off, and it's also off the map. So we're okay there. So then I come back, there was the first start. So now I just go one above here, all right? And then I'm like one above the whole way down. One above there, one above there, one above there, one above there, there, there. And then you're going to always, don't go one above on the way back, okay? Because you're going to start a new line. Cross the line that you just did, right? So there's one that's not crossed, right? So I kind of work back and then just follow, and then there, cross there. Now you can see this is on my 4-axis line. See how one is in the middle and one's on the next one? That's just something that, you know, just shows it's a 4 and an 8. If you had all of the 8 marks on all of the 4 lines, you would hit them all the way around. And like I said, you don't have to do that, but it does make it easier on somebody that's newer at it for sure. All right. So there's, like I said, this is just because I put it too close to the chuck. And there you go. So there's 2 passes and 874 more, and you'll be looking good. No, but anyway, that's kind of how it starts. And then all you got to do is, so this is my original line. You can mark like a 0 here if you want to always make sure. You can always chuck it into your index chuck at 0 if you want, because remember, this chuck face is indexed. Chuck it at 0. So you always know it's like this one. You're always going to go one above, all the way down, all the way back. And then that one will be covered. And then you go to this one. And you go to this one. And you go to this one. Now remember, as you work this way, you'll be like working off down here. But then you'll just, you know, it ain't that tough. You guys will be just fine. Because then when you work off down here, you just work off here and go around the tape and then come back as you come. Right?
Well done. Well done. Math and all.
Give something away, please.
Yeah, let's
Holy
do it.
moly.
Giveaway 2 of the night. We're going to do a 12-spool ProWrap metallic thread assortment kit. And if we have any mesh tape left, if everyone doesn't buy us out tonight,
Yeah, right?
we're going to throw in some mesh tape too, all joking aside. Let's run that thing. See what we got.
What you think, Uncle Phil? Give us another good one.
Here we go. Here we go.
Let me call the war room, make sure.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we're doing a giveaway here in a second.
Andrew
We
B.
can.
Stand by for that last name. See who lucky winner is. Mr. Andrew B. Who do we got? Oh, can't read it. Bernard? Andrew Bernard. Nice.
Is that Bernard?
Bernard? Bannard?
Maybe Bannard? I don't know. We've had a couple good ones.
Two ends, yeah, 2 ends. You're right, yeah. Either way, congrats, Andrew.
Yeah.
Great prize there. 14 spool ProWrap metallic.
Yeah. Congratulations, Andrew Bernard.
Perfect.
All right. It's 8:15. Let's do this last little bit and then we'll get out of here. I wanted to highlight something that we did a little while ago, and the catalog marketing team did an incredible job with. We can go overhead here. So these are all of the MHX metallics. Whoop, that's a CRB.
I was going to fan them out a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's a CRB. But there's a lot of metallics in here. There's a lot of...
There we go.
Yeah.
Not bad, not bad.
Now, don't worry. We do have... I got to get it in the screen there.
Okay.
We do have it cataloged, right? We've got this somewhere, and I don't know where. It was in a catalog or a flyer one time. We have it in a blog. We have all of the MHX metallic colors with all of these various, some are metallics, some are nylons, some are color fasts. I mean, you can see it's pretty wild. Like, look at the purple on this. Is this a smoke metallic? That's...
Yeah,
Which one is...
Yeah, metallic black pearl.
Yeah, the black pearl with the purple? Get out of here. That would look incredible. This this metallic green with an orange on it would look killer. Yeah. How about little champagne and pink? So these are some color options. We have it. We've got it in a blog. We will, I think the guy's got a link for it, but that is really the best way of going about picking your metallics. It gets you the 40 spool or the what is it, the 12 spool thread? 12 spool metallic? 12 spool metallic. That's the best way to start.
Oh, and of course, more.
Yeah, we also did them with the CRB color series. So the color series are not metallic, but you know, they do have color. This is what? Is this one of the like the this is not the variegated, but what is this one? It's a ProWrap color.
VersaBlend?
VersaBlend. That's right.
Yeah.
So don't hesitate to use like one of this you probably, I don't know if you can really see. Uncle Phil, can you see that? Like kind of how it's a change? How it's like an orangey reddish kind of.
Yeah.
Now we're talking. See, it's like an orangey red kind of this is the VersaBlend. Now it is kind of like, hold it right there, Uncle Phil. It is kind of like that Fuji one see how the Fuji one changes colors and looks real like, this one looks camo. I know I've said it 100 times, but not that the VersaBlend is like that. The VersaBlend is a more defined like single thread color change, but that is a really cool option as well. All right, one last thing. Let me see that. I had finish on it. So this is the Fuji with the finish on it and without the finish on it. So It definitely darkens a little bit, but we're also like not under bright light, right? Anytime you get in the sun, with this stuff, that's pretty poor. Anytime you get in the sun with any of these dragon scales, it really pops. So I like it because this is the metallic green blank from MHX. Metallic green, little kind of camo-y dragon scale. So, and then I did black nylon thread ramps there, right there, and right there instead of winding checks. Because, hey, we're using all that thread, we might as well do thread ramps. That we did on one of the previous 114 episodes.
Yeah,
right?
just a few episodes ago.
Yeah, not too many. So that's a good show too. All right, I think that's it. It's 8:20.
Yeah.
I know the guys in the war room are just like, shut him up.
Let's go ahead and just dive into that last giveaway.
Yeah,
tonight.
do the big giveaway.
How about it? All right, this is a mouthful. 4-spool rolling thread carriage for your RBS track.
Yep.
We're going to throw in the tension rod attachment
Why not?
and
Sure.
a rolling thread runner. That's a very popular addition. Nice. To the RBS track system. So,
Sweet.
last giveaway of the night, grand prize winner. Let's see who we got
Run
for
that thing.
tonight. Robert W.
Ooh,
Okay.
that could go.
All right. We'll see. Robert W. Stand by for that last name. And as always, any of the winners tonight, email live@mudhole.com
Thank you.
to claim your prize. Even if you are not present during this show live, you can still do it afterwards. Let's see what we got here. Robert W. Who's it going to be?
I think the guys in the war room already left us. Hot Pockets.
I think they got hungry.
Hot Pockets must be ready.
Robert.
Uh-oh. He's doing it to you on purpose.
Oh, hold on.
He's doing it to you on purpose.
Keep standing by.
No
that
storms tonight. Can't be. It can't be Robert Will.
Robert Will?
That's it? Boy, talk about a cliffhanger.
Are we sure about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it though? All right. Well, Robert Will.
Robert Will?
Have at it.
W-I-L-L? Williams? I don't know.
I don't know. No, Robert Will.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
We'll get the rest of that name tomorrow. And
Cool.
yeah. All right.
Sweet.
Well, I guess that's a good one to end on for Hunter.
All right. I love it.
Congratulations, Hunter.
Yeah.
All right. What else? Anything else?
I think you covered it.
Yeah, I think I covered it.
We didn't have, we had some questions early on, not a ton of questions towards the end, so yeah.
I think everybody was just like,
Whoa, too much math
I
and
just-
diamonds and crosses and
we'll
yeah.
just let him go to sleep up there. All right. Next show is going to be. Are we in? Gosh, it'll be the week of Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
the
we
next
got
show.
2 more for the year. 2 more shows
Right?
for the year.
2 more shows for the year. So we're gonna have the big Q&A show. All right. So since it's near the end of the year, and where do you guys get this from? This is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
love that.
All right, fantastic. We're doing the Rod Building Q&A show. It's going to be episode 116, Tuesday, November 26th. That is 2 days before Thanksgiving, 6:30 Eastern. The good part about this is most of y'all are probably already going to be hopefully with your families for Thanksgiving, and this is a great opportunity to get away from them for a couple hours. Maybe win some prizes, learn, and not have to listen to Aunt Bethany talk about her bunions or something. I don't know. Whatever happens at pre-Thanksgiving dinners. So, and there might be, I don't know, there might be a sale or two going on by then.
There might be a few floating around.
Who knows? All right. What else? Is that it?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Perfect. I'm ready to get out of here too.
We're good.
We had some help in the war room tonight, and the war room was a satellite war room tonight, right? We had Birdman, Hoffma, Rob was up here earlier, though. Rob out of the Mudhole Advantage.
Correct.
Those guys are killing it, by the way. So for all of those wholesale Mudhole Advantage B2B folk out there, we appreciate y'all, as always. And y'all know Rob. He's a great one. To Jake is up at Indianapolis. Who is Jake with?
He's with Anthony and
Okay.
also Buzz and Jesus from our rod building education instruction team.
Instructors, right. So we got education and instructors at the FFA National Convention.
That's correct.
So that's pretty cool. Hopefully they're not freezing. Yeah, and happy birthday to the wife who didn't see any of this. But so
Great shout out either way.
But all right, let's get out of here.
If you didn't tell her, she would still find out somehow.
She would. Yeah, probably. Your wife would text her and be like,
No,
"I can't
my wife
believe
doesn't
that."
watch either.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. Matt Kuhlman, you did a great job on the Zoom tonight, standing in. So he's got a new job. We'll make him do both next time. And Uncle Phil on the ones and twos as always. Thank you very much. And Hunter is tonight my right-hand man.
Correct. Switched over to the
running
to our iPad tonight. Yeah.
Perfect. Yep. All right. So we will see y'all in November the 26th, 6:30 Eastern, for the big Q&A show. So everybody have a happy and safe Halloween, and start shopping because it's coming up pretty soon.
It is right around the corner.
All right. We'll see y'all.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.